All right, everybody, and welcome to BCB Live, the safest station in the nation. Drive safe. Dave here, right here, wearing the flag band. And Double Check Dale wearing the reflective gear. What's going on, Double Check?
Hey, weather's going on. Well, weather's always going on, but we've got some adverse weather out there.
Yeah, I was going to say, when is weather not going on unless you're in outer space? Now, if you're in outer space, probably not a lot of weather.
Well, you said what's going on, so I said weather.
Okay, but no, I mean, seriously, that's what we wanted to lead off with today, was kind of talk about what's really happening across the country as it continues. It hit the Northwest, earlier. Yep. And now here it is starting to really pick up steam across the country.
Upper Midwest, Colorado, northern Colorado, going into that western part of Nebraska, the Dakotas, and, working its way into Minnesota. That's where we're going to see the blizzard conditions, very heavy snows, 8 to 12 inches in areas up there. High winds. That's probably the biggest event right now going on in Colorado, eastern Colorado. There are some very, very strong winds working their way into Kansas and parts of Nebraska. So, I mean, even if the snow's let up, the winds, sustain 35 miles an hour, gust to 48, shouldn't be driving in those.
Yeah, close to 50 miles an hour. I do know that they had closed 76 at one point. They closed I-70. They closed parts of 80.
Yep.
And there's been wrecks. So it's not the most ideal of situations right now out there going on.
No, definitely not.
Do what?
Definitely not the most ideal situation.
Yeah, in that area, and I'm not saying they're not used to getting weather, but anytime it blows up closer to 50 miles an hour and it's snow, it doesn't. When it starts moving, like when it's blowing this way or this way or this way, and then swirl and keep going. Those are treacherous situations to be in.
Yeah, and a little bit of ice and snow on the road, and that wind catches you just at the wrong time. That's a recipe for disaster. So you just got to stay out there. Use good judgment on that.
They're anticipating that cold to lock in. This week, and then push on into next week for the next round.
Yeah.
So you're going to get some bad weather today, and then that weather. And you know what's really crazy is that weather line is really marching its way across the entire country. Now, if you're above 40, it's a little bit different type of weather. At 70, that above, but south of 40, all the way down, all the way into Texas, it is. We got it here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area earlier. Even had a touchdown of a tornado.
Yep.
Here earlier today. I mean, craziness, right?
Craziness. And that storm, the thunderstorms and severe threat of thunderstorms is moving its way to the east. Tomorrow, tonight, and into tomorrow morning, we're going to see it in Louisiana, Mississippi, those areas, Arkansas, really threat of some severe thunderstorms with a real potential for tornadoes up there. So be aware of that.
I will tell you, it's cooled off dramatically from when the storm blew through. I'd say 10, 12 degrees. That's squeezing all that moisture that was in the air. Remember, did you feel it? It was kind of heavy with moisture. It was humid. There was a lot of moisture in the air, and then it's going to be like that all the way into Louisiana, all the way to that same heavy moisture is going to get squeezed by this cold air and then push it down, and that's what's creating these huge that warm, moist air colliding with that cold air, and all it can do is squeeze that. The driest place in your house, right? I've told you many, many times.
Yes.
The driest place in your house.
Where is it?
It's the freezer.
There's a freezer. There's no water in there. Only ice. There's no water. No water in the air. No water at all. There's no. So that's why moisture won't be in the air in those really, really cold temperatures. It just locks down and drops out of the sky. So.
Yeah.
And that's what you're doing. You're starting to get that freezer effect coming in and crashing in with that moist air.
And by this weekend, it'll be out in the New England states, and there's some potential for some very, very heavy snows out in the New England states.
I was watching that, and I think it's important that we also mention that I did see they are expecting some freezing rain up around that Cumberland Gap area.
Yep. West Virginia line.
West Virginia, Maryland, all that going on there. Just make sure you know what you're getting into and be aware of the situation as this progresses east. It's going to catch pretty much everybody in the whole country.
Yeah, definitely. And then you said round 2 next week. And from what I've seen with round 2, there's a lot more freezing rain, potential for a lot more freezing rain next week. So, another one to go with. But it's that time of year, Dave. We can't change it. We just got to deal with it.
Yeah, it is quite surprising that it's coming on the heels of and getting right, next to what's happening with as we get closer to the holidays, right? Because if it's next week, you're looking at that week right before Christmas, and you're looking at some travel problems.
Yeah. Yes.
Right? I mean,
yes.
are we? I mean, we're 12 days away, and then we push into next week. We're not very far away from Christmas next week.
No, but it'll be travel issues, whether it's at the airport or whether it's on roadways, because it's affecting everything. Trains also, so there you go.
Planes, trains, and automobiles. Yes, it will affect all and impact all of them negatively. What?
No, I said, yes, sir. One of my favorite movies, Planes, Trains, and Automobiles.
It was a great Steve Martin, John Candy movie, wasn't it?
Hard to beat them.
That's a classic. I'm telling you, good stuff right there. My favorite scene in the movie is he wakes up and looks over and he sees somebody driving the wrong way on the road, and they're yelling at him and he's yelling at them, and then he realizes he's driving the wrong way on the road. Don't
be him. Don't drive the wrong way.
Good stuff, man. And that they had melted their hood. Yeah. All right. Anyway, I digress.
We digress.
All right, I'll tell you what we've got for you guys is a very, very important interview we wanted to share with you today, and that is Helen Voyer, president over there at Women in Trucking. And we absolutely were at the Women in Trucking conference. We had a chance to sit down with Ellen, go over some stuff with her, and also Lana, right? Lana Nichols, the vice president over there at Women in Trucking. So we had an opportunity to meet with both. So here we're going to do some of the video that we created out there at the conference, and you know what? Pretty cool stuff. So we'll do that right after this message.
Welcome to BCB Live. We're the safest station in the nation. Drive Safe Dave, and Dave with us is our very, very special guest. As a matter of fact, you're hosting the Women in Trucking. It's your baby right here. Over 1,700 people here, women, men together. What are your thoughts on this whole thing?
I am overwhelmed. Everyone's here because they support our mission to increase the ranks of women in the trucking industry. And I mean, it's such a community. I mean, everybody is walking by smiling.
It really is, and it's no. I'll say this: it's different than some of the other ones that I've go to, and we go to quite a few of them. There's something special about what's going on in here. What is it? What do you think it is?
I will tell you what it is. So when you go to another conference, a trucking conference like ATA or TCA or other conferences, they're like, oh, we've got regulations, we've got fuel price increases, we need more drivers, we've got this, and this. At our conference, we're like, hey, we're helping 150 women buy trucks. Hey, we're helping lower fuel prices. Wow. Hey, we're reaching out to the next generation. You know, I mean, we're coming in, we're going, we have solutions to these problems, and we're going to make it happen.
Yes, and we see a lot of action, right? And I think one thing we're seeing out here, there's action items. You hear it around here. We've talked to people. There's no doubt that action will come out of these meetings, and that's what it takes to make a change in the industry is action. I want to talk about this, Ellen. I know that, you know, man, this is coming up on your last year. You announced that today.
Well, I mean, I hope I'm here next year when we have 3,000.
I like that. There we go. One more year. One more year. No. I like that part. Yesterday, you came down and you sat with us for about 20, 30 minutes. So there was a couple ladies there from JB Hunt. You don't know this. And I actually sat down because the place was full. You couldn't find anywhere to sit down. I had a little table, sat down with these two ladies from JB Hunt. And then you came and sat down with us. And I wish you would, when you left, they were like, oh my God, that Ellen was here and she spent that much. It was the cool, I'm telling you, you make a difference.
Really?
You make a difference to these people, to everybody, to us included. It was like, you should have seen them glow. And do you know that's the power? That's what you've done with all of these people that are here? It's absolutely amazing.
I wish somebody would tell my brothers because they still don't know what I do.
They'll never know. Even when we tell them, they'll never know.
They're like, oh, Alan, she just brags about women in trucking all the time.
So we sat around, and Rick and I talked about this earlier. We sat around and we looked at this genuine and this huge success. And here it is. And I think this is where Rick and I wanted to sit down and talk to you for a few minutes about. Let's talk about when it all began.
Oh my gosh.
No, seriously. You're 1,700 strong now, but go back to when it wasn't, right? Let's go back to the very beginning when you decided to do this. What did you think? What did you feel? And when you looked around, it wasn't a full room, was it?
No. Our first event had 300, but that was 8 years ago. But I mean, Women in Trucking's been around for 15 years.
Right.
But we didn't have a conference up until 8 years ago. But so, do you want me to talk about the first event or the first year?
Day one? Go. Let's talk about absolutely.
Women in Trucking was formed.
100%.
So I was working for a large carrier, and they said figure out how to attract and retain female drivers. And I told you this.
Yeah.
I mean, if you want to know if someone's a pilot, don't worry, they'll tell you. Seriously. So anyway, I belonged to a women's aviation organization, and it struck me that there wasn't one for women in the trucking industry. And so I reached out to some powerful women in the industry, and I said, this is what I'm thinking. We came together, we wrote the mission, came up with the logo. That's that was fun, coming up with a logo. And the mission's never changed. We started adding men to the board. We started a lot. We thought we better be diverse. So, but the very first year, my goal was to hit 500 members. We hit it. And I don't know if you guys know this, but I made a comment and I said, when we hit, 1,000 members, I'll get the logo tattooed on my shoulder. So I did. I had the Women in Trucking logo on my shoulder.
That's a commitment.
And we did it at a trade show, live on camera. It's still on YouTube. And I was on the SiriusXM radio. They were interviewing me as I was getting the tattoo. And a whole bunch of other people, we brought a tattoo artist in, and a whole bunch of other people got the tattoos as well. So, and then, it's like 2,000, 3,000, 4,000. We now have 7,600 members in 10 countries, or maybe even more countries by now.
So as you look back, and we can see the success, but what were genuinely those moments, those obstacles when you were getting started that you had to overcome? Because this couldn't have been easy, right?
It was not easy. We couldn't pay ourselves. I reached out to a friend of mine who had worked for me previously, and I said, I want you to work for me, and I will pay you well, but I can't pay you for a while. And so my job was then to go out and attract the members. I was still working for the carrier at that time.
Oh, wow.
And so my job was to get the members, and the goal was 500 members the first year. And the thing is, the hardest part was establishing credibility. When you come in and say, I want to bring more women in the industry, and the people I knew, and I twisted their arm, they said, I'll write you a check the first year. But if you don't do what you say you're going to do, that's the only check you're ever going to get.
Wow.
So we had to prove ourselves and say, no, we are making a difference, to get them to write that check in the second year and third year and fourth year, and because they pay their dues annually. So obviously we're doing what we said we were going to do. We are making a difference. Just look around this room. And I think the thing that excites me most is that there's so many young women who want leadership roles here. So it's not just CEOs here, it's not just drivers, it's a lot of women. Companies are sending women to learn from other women. This morning I announced we had a participation award. Amazon brought 74 people.
Wow.
So, and other companies brought 50, 60,
Yes.
So they see the value, the educational value. They wouldn't bring that many
would
people
not.
if it was just for fun.
Yeah.
When did you realize that you truly were making a difference? You can, saying, we're going to make a difference, saying, that our mission and that's what we want to do. But when did that bulb click on and go, you know what? That made a difference, and I'm willing. I want to do that there. I want to do that there. I want to do that there. You know what I'm saying?
I will tell you, and I might start crying when I tell you.
No, I want to hear it.
Because we have a strategy session every year. And I remember one year, it was 4 or 5 years ago, and I walked into the strategy session and I saw Daimler, Walmart, Amazon, Great Dane, all these high-level executives. They don't send, a vice president from Walmart, I walked in to the board, the strategy session, and it just struck me. They all believe in our mission. They all believe in our mission. And if you can get those big companies to serve on your board because they believe in your mission, then we've made a change. They're saying, even JB Hunt told me that they increased their percentage of female drivers since they joined Women in Trucking by following, the lead of what they should be doing to bring more women in. And so that was the day. I walked in the room, looked at all these high-level executives sitting around a boardroom, and it just struck me like, they believe, or like, what's her name who won an Academy Award? They like me. Who was that? But really it meant that they support our mission, because they wouldn't be there and investing that kind of time and energy if they didn't support our mission.
100%. And did you, when you did get that feedback from those people, and in that meeting, and I know you realized it at that moment, but when they're sitting there and talking about it, they believe in it too, right? They believe in it, men, women, whoever's there.
Right.
They're coming forward and respecting what's going on, and they want what you're talking about.
Exactly. If we didn't deliver on what we were saying we were going to do, they would not come back and support us.
That's got to be a great feeling. When did you have their, oh, this might not work moment? Did you ever?
Oh my gosh. The first year was just horrible because it was a recession.
There's a great start time.
And so the first year was like, we got to make this work. We've got to make this work. And then there was one point about 4 or 5 years ago, and again, it just seemed like we were struggling, and it seemed like we weren't growing. And I don't know what happened, why that was happening, but. And I've never told this story, but I went to a seminar, like a 2-day about where do you want to be, what do you want to do when you grow up. It was I forget the name, but the guy wrote a book. Bob Buford wrote the book, and it's Halftime. It's called Halftime.
Gotcha.
And it's what do you want to do with the rest of your life to make a difference. And I thought, well, maybe I'm not the right person. Maybe this has grown bigger than me. So I went to this 2-day halftime here in Dallas, and they said, well, what do you want to do? And I said, I want to empower women. I want this. And they said, you're doing that. Why would you want to change? And I thought, well, maybe I need to. Maybe I'm not doing the organization. Maybe someone else could do it better. And after I came back from that halftime thing, suddenly women in trucking started just exploding. And it was like, okay, I think I needed to have that refresh, And I have a leadership coach, and he says, when everybody's focusing on the same mission, and make sure your board is focusing, your staff is focusing, your members are all focusing on it, just focus on that mission. And we are very mission-based at Women in Trucking. Everything has to align with the mission. So I think kind of refocusing and saying, forget all this other stuff. Let's just bring more women in and let's figure out how to do it well.
Ellen, I know we got to get you up because you got some awards to give out. Before we do that, I'm going to tell you, and I just want you to hear it, that Dave and I have had the ability to walk around, talk to a lot of people. Let me tell you, I don't know, Dave, I really don't, somebody that's made a bigger difference to a group of people in my life. I'm telling you, it's absolutely amazing. It makes my heart, I get the goosebumps thinking about it when I watch you up there, when I see the attention at you. Great job, way to go. We got to keep going though. We have 3,000 people we got to have in here next year. 3,000 is the number, Josh.
It is the number, and it was challenged to you out there, and I heard them throwing out numbers to you. I wanted to ask you one more question before we go, and I think it's important. You got 15% men. In the deal.
As members.
As members. How important is that to you?
Oh my gosh, that was one of the biggest things that we said. Women in Trucking is not just for women, it's about women. And men who believe in our mission, and men will come and say, I want to hire more women. How do I do that? How do I promote them? I love the fact that about 15% of our members are men, because when men say, in fact, I had 2 men come up to me at this conference and say their wives were very suspicious of them going to a Women in Trucking event.
Mine too.
Yeah.
Mine too.
That's 3 now. So, it's just amazing that so many men do support the association.
it's not that I'm amazed that they support it. It's that they're willing to, that they're willing to step up and become a member of Women in Trucking. I think that's a fascinating deal because it's in time. Isn't it time we reward talent and brains, and we reward and that we look for it no matter where it is?
Right.
sir.
No matter
exactly.
where it is.
Exactly. I spoke at a conference recently, and it was called Women in Supply Chain. When the day comes when we don't have to have some program or association that just is for women, not about women, that's when we've made it. I think Women in Trucking will always be around because we address obstacles and celebrate success. We really have to do that. But even if we hit 50% female drivers, we'll still have a reason to exist because we still want to make their lives better.
Yes, we do. You're watching BCB Live, and we have to get you out of here. We got people waiting on you. We don't want to get blamed for that, Drive State. We get blamed for enough. Thank you for what you do. We're honored to have you on our show. We're honored to be part of Women in Trucking. We love what's going on here. Keep it going. 3,000 is what we're after next year. 3,000's a number. We'll be back with more BCB Live. We're the safest station in the nation. Welcome back to BCB Live. We're the safest station in the nation. Drive safe, Dave. It never ends. You know what? Now we have another big name. Let me tell you something.
Here we go.
You want titles, you want big name guests, we continue to deliver. Now we have Lana Nichols, Vice President of Women in Trucking. How are you doing?
I'm wonderful. Thank you for having me.
It's our pleasure. You know what? It was, what are your thoughts? So you've been here 10 years. You've seen this baby grow. Last year, 800, this year over 1,700. What were your thoughts when you walked in and you saw that crowd out there on Monday?
It's amazing. It's amazing. So I've been with Women in Trucking since we've started the conferences, and we were on the trajectory to really take off, and then COVID hit. So then in 2020 we had to go virtual.
Yep.
And then in 2021, companies still weren't sure what their policy was going to be. They were like, I don't know if we can travel. So we had 800. 2019, I think we had 1,100. So we were kind of on that trajectory.
Yep.
And then, so Ellen threw the goal out, like, team, let's get 1,500 there. And then here we just blew it out of the water and, surpassed that with 60. And then by the time we got here, 1,700. And so it is an overwhelming, like a blessed feeling, but it's also creates such an energy with all the people here. They're excited. Everyone's just empowered.
So let's go back to the 10 years ago.
Yeah.
You walked in the door 10 years ago. What you thought of the organization then, what your when you were there, and kind of lead us to what you were when you first got involved.
So I was actually involved with Women in Trucking as a member first. So they're 15 years old, and so I actually worked for truckstop.com. And so my boss served on the board and was chairwoman of Women in Trucking. And my mentor was also Ellen's mentor.
Wow.
Yeah. And so it came full circle, which, a lot of the trucking industry is like that. You meet people, you network, you connect. That's what events like this are for. And really, that's how I got connected. That's how I met Ellen. And then I was starting a family, and I had a couple babies really back to back, and so I was really looking for something that was slower paced. And with Women in Trucking, I could work from home, and I could work different hours. And so anyway, Ellen's like, I need a powerhouse person to come alongside Shar and I, and it just all happened. And I've watched it grow and become, and we had our association management firm come on and take on the conference. And that has really been a game changer for making a difference, really.
So we had the question earlier, and I don't know if it's different for you, but she told us when she saw the worm turn, when she saw it really change. When was that moment for you? When was the moment you realized, hey, we're headed in the right direction with the right, when you thought it was really the kickoff moment?
I think there's several of those nuggets along the way. There's several of those aha moments where you're like, this is big, and it's like walking in a room like this. You feel that?
Absolutely.
In 2018, Aero Truck Sales partnered with Women in Trucking to give a truck away.
I saw that.
That's a big thing, and that's a big moment in someone's life to change their life is like giving them a truck and then they become an owner operator, and like those are impactful moments. And so when you can connect because I work from home, right? So I'm like in my own home office, but when you can like see that impact firsthand, it's like being in person here. Those are the moments for me where I'm like, yes, like this is making a difference.
Do you still talk to the person that got the truck?
Yes. In fact, so we're giving a truck away again
I know
at the
that.
salute.
We know.
And so that was the last one in 2018. So 5 years later, we're doing it again. And so I've connected with her again, and she's been on our radio show to help promote that and talking about her
that's
journey
great. I like that.
and all that. So absolutely. And so that's another aha moment of like this is really big is our Whitney trailer that we have. I don't know if you've been through Whitney, and that's like just to be able to have that and to be able to go to events, and that's big for us too. And we'd like to have several more of them.
Yeah,
so.
no doubt. That's and if you're here at the Women in Trucking, it's in the back. Go take a look at it. It's the Whitney trailer.
It's where the crowd is.
Without a doubt.
It's where the crowd of people is all the time.
In fact, it's connected to the Aero truck that we're going to be giving away.
I already looked it over, and I already looked it over.
Kick the tires.
Yeah, I kicked the tires, checked it out.
Hey, Michelin's donating all new tires too, so we're gonna have a fresh set on by Matt.
I didn't see the new rubber.
Yeah, well, they're gonna be put on.
So lots of programs here at Women in Trucking, right? That you all put out, you get behind. One of them is that it's the Mentor Match program.
Yeah, and that's a member benefit. So if you're a member of Women in Trucking and you're looking for a mentor or like mentees is for anyone, and so really you can be a mentor in one category of your life and a mentee in another. So it has all of that available to select on our Engage platform, which is our community for members. And so it doesn't cost anything extra. If you're a member, that's just a benefit of connecting our community.
I don't know if you've seen on the website there, but you can go in there and you can ask a question, and it's amazing to see the help that they will get. Somebody they'll ask a question about deadhead. It could be an owner operator. Maybe it's a first time owner operator asking a question. Hey, what's the bet? How do I get out of this area? People will jump in and help. Are those the kind of mentors that you're talking about? Somebody that's new to the industry, to find somebody to help them along, to show them what the best freight is, maybe what the best lanes are, who to avoid, those kinds of things.
Absolutely. And it's across the gamut. It is for drivers, but it's also for anyone, any position in the industry. Or you can connect with, a driver could connect with a dispatcher or senior management. I mean, there are no restrictions. You can, if you're looking, you just kind of request, you get to know someone, you see their profile, and you can request and say, I'm looking for guidance in this area of my career or even in my personal life, and you can connect.
When you talk about that, and you talk about the mentor, it's funny you mentioned that just a second ago, that my mentor was the same as Ellen's mentor. So obviously, it means something to you. Now you've been a mentor, right? Mm-hmm. And been a mentee. Mm-hmm. What do you get from it personally when you started and when you became, and you know what I'm saying, that connection?
I think that mentorship is so important to grow. A good mentor is going to stretch you, is going to give you constructive feedback. It's not always a pat on the back. It's not always, oh, you're doing just so great, you're going to be wonderful.
What are you doing?
But a good mentor is someone who's going to stretch you beyond your limits to get you to grow. And if you're doing it right as a mentor, you're learning something from your mentee as well.
Absolutely.
Sure.
And you don't have to it doesn't have to be female to female mentorship. I mean, my mentor I mentioned was male. We were in a driver panel yesterday, and in fact, they talked about mentorship too, two different panels, but they really keyed on that is like when this driver wanted to become a driver, she was working at a truck stop, and they're like, how do you get women to get in the industry? She's like, it was not other females telling me you can do this. It was male drivers. Male drivers encouraged me to do this. And a lot of women drivers will tell you their mentors are men, so there's no restriction of like, there are women in trucking and, it has to be a female to female. So, it takes us all to lift each other up. And that's why we have men as members too.
For certain. And if you're watching this and wondering, are you that mentor type? Let me tell you, those of you that have gone through the struggles, and that's the important part of being a mentor, is you've gone through the struggles. You can relate to that person that's asking for help, that's looking for that mentor. You've been there. And you can talk to them about those mistakes before they make them, because what we don't want is them to make the same mistakes that we made. We've all been there. We've done it. It's important to let other people know, to open up to them and say, hey, you know what, I've been there. You are struggling, I know you are, but we can get out of this.
I think one of the other things too is that when you talk about a mentorship, when the person, it creates vulnerability between the two. You come and you share and you develop a relationship in which you can develop trust, and that you can come and say, you know what, this isn't working for me, and I don't know why. I'm trying, I'm struggling, and it's okay to be honest with not only yourself but with somebody else at the time, right? I mean, that's truly what you're getting from it.
Absolutely, and you nailed it with the struggles you've gone through. That's what makes a good mentor, is to say, this is where I've messed up, or this is the mistakes I made, or these are pitfalls to avoid. That's where you grow and you learn, and then you can share that, you can give back to someone else who's coming up behind you and paving the way. And that's what Trailblazers, that's what Accelerate is all about.
And don't be afraid to ask for help too, right? Because you've got, and Dave, you said vulnerable, right? I mean, make yourself vulnerable. There's nothing wrong with asking for help. It's okay. Dave, when we opened up the business, you know, I wish we'd have had somebody. I'm telling you, I love the mentor, because we didn't have anybody to talk. It seemed like everybody we knew was already successful, and they didn't go through the learning curves of being a brand new driver, being a brand new owner. They weren't there. They were like second, third, fourth generation. They didn't understand all this. We've got to learn to share these things amongst us. And Women in Trucking, what you're doing through this program, that's what it's about. Opening it up allows you to open up as a mentor. And I didn't even know that mentee was a word. That's kind of cool. I learned a new word today.
There you go.
I thought it was just a big fish.
Manatee.
Yeah.
The same thing I thought.
That was my joke. You can use it if you want.
Okay, I might.
Oh, man.
Where do you see, and you look around, and I know we talked earlier, we talked about 3,000. Where do you see, what trajectory are we headed to now in Women in Trucking? What trajectory, really, and be honest, where you think it will be in 5 years?
5 years. You know, as a board, we're really looking at that as a strategic plan for, as a whole, what is our aspirational goal for the next 5 years, for the next 10 years? And really hearing all of their feedback is interesting, and we've like put them into, you know, different categories. But personally, I see more international. You know, Ellen mentioned that we're in 10 countries. I really think building that out, really making a presence in those countries and making it Women in Trucking International. But yeah, I mean, as far as numbers, membership continues to grow. But our WIT index is where we track and have a pulse on how many women are in the industry at different levels of the industry. And I really want those numbers to increase tremendously over the next 5 to 10 years. And that's really going to help us understand the difference that we're making and the impact as well.
I think this is a great way in which we get a real look at who ourselves are and what we're doing about making a difference in the industry. Because the one thing that I gathered here, and I've been doing this a while, I've been in the industry a long time, but there is passion here with every single person that's walking through the room. They genuinely want this industry to be better in so many ways. I've seen smiles and joy and conversations, and everybody here, I know they've got their way in which they're doing it, but honestly, I'll tell you what, the positivity's been unbelievable here. Yeah. And I attribute that to you guys.
Yes, I agree. And Len, I want you to touch base on this, because I'm going to go right with what you're saying, Dave, on this. Is because as we've gone and seen and talked to people, it's the first time that I've seen a group of people like willing to collaborate with one another, right? And work together towards making our industry better. You know, what have you seen when it comes to that collaboration? I mean, give me some thoughts on that.
So much. Like within the association, we have task forces that meet, that what they want to solve problems, right? Like women just, you see a problem, they want to fix it. We've got panels, we've got, sounding boards. People want to talk with drivers, tell us, how can we make our trucks more like accommodating to smaller frames, what's the problem, let's fix it. And they're so willing to collaborate, to discuss best practices, to share what's worked for me, what's working for you. But yeah, this is a great group of people to do that with.
I can't wait till you're in every university out there making sure that this is the place that they want to be, right? I mean, you're out there funneling them in here, funneling the talent and the smarts and the leaders of tomorrow in here. I think this is a fantastic way. I appreciate you coming in today. Fantastic stuff.
Hold on, we're not letting her get out of here. We're going to do that.
Oh, okay, go.
We're doing that right there. So you have to say your name. You're with Women in Trucking, and you're watching BCB Live, the safest station.
Can I read it off of their
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You can do everything you want to do.
Okay, my name is Lana Nichols, and I am with Women in Trucking Association, and you're watching BCB Live, the safest station in the nation.
There you go.
All right. Thank you so much, Lana. BCB Live, the safest station in the nation. BCB Live covers freight. Here we are now at 21% of record freight being rejected. News down in Texas. We're going to talk a little bit about this. We had another $1.5 million seizure. If ever there's a time to do a pre or post trip, it's if you're doing something wrong.
Weather, traffic. Hey, good morning, everybody. Welcome to some traffic and weather with Buckle Up Bob.
You can kind of see where the visibility can be compromised a little bit. Again, right where that rain is.
And most importantly, safety.
One of the things that we must do is make sure that safety is the number one thing that we focus on.
Going into an intersection yellow is not the way. That's to clear an intersection, not to enter an intersection.
Tune in weekdays from 7 a.m. to 8 a.m. Central Standard Time. You can watch BCB Live through LinkedIn, YouTube, or Facebook. So what are you waiting for? Subscribe today and follow BCB Live.
All right, we're back here on BCB Live, the safest station in the nation. Drive Safe Dave, along with Double Check Dale. And yes, what a very apropos topic to be talking about driving in weather.
Yep, talking about snow today. Driving in snow. Hey, did you know weather-related vehicle accidents average more deaths per year than all other weather fatalities combined? Did you know that? Now you do. And so just about driving in snow, we just got to slow down. The FMCSA says we should slow down by at least 50%. You know, so if it's 70 mile an hour speed limit, you should slow it down to 35. And if you got to slow it down to 35, the roads are that bad, you need to get off the roads, park it up, do the right thing, be safe, wait it out, protect yourself and others around you. Because driving in snow and ice is not much fun.
No, there's a world of difference to me between snow and driving on ice.
Yep.
I mean, you just should never drive on ice. Snow, you can...
Depends on the winds and what's going on with it. You know, it's just a rule of thumb. You need to slow down with that because generally with snow you catch a lot of winds with
if it's
it.
10 feet tall, it's probably not a good idea.
What's that?
If it's 10 feet tall, it's probably not a good idea.
Probably not. You know, those drifts are 3 or 4 feet tall. Probably not because they'll take a radiator out. I've seen it happen. So
they will.
So, you know, snow, we got to take it seriously. Like I said, we
do
have
they
a
take
lot
it out
of
for like dinner, or do they take it out for like, you've seen it take it out?
Oh my goodness.
A movie? Like what kind of they take it out? Are they close?
They take it out of operation.
They take it out of operation. Do they ever hit it off? Yes.
They take it out of operation because all of a sudden we have that green.
All right, let's watch some videos.
Let's watch it. I know what we are. We're too close. And then, a lot of times when you talk to drivers and stuff, you hear them say, well, I was getting ready to make a pass. And I get that, but you're still too close. You got that double yellow line. You can't see around them. Back off a little bit. Wait for that passing zone, good passing opportunity to come along.
Okay.
Compromised conditions, rain, visibility.
Is it raining?
Stuff, so.
I can't tell. Is it raining? Because I can't see it for the water on the windshield.
That would probably be rain then, wouldn't it, Dave?
I don't know. I don't know. That guy might have a leaky radiator. You never know.
Yeah, that's it. Might have taken a radiator out. There you go. Anyway, compromised conditions. We need to back off. We're about 0.7 of a second behind.
Oh, well, the lightning's probably a good indication in the background that it might be stormy.
Yeah, if we had volume, we could probably hear the thunder too. So, too close. Back off. Just got to increase that space.
How does that drop right in the box? I just want to know it hangs out in that box the whole time. Have you noticed that?
Yeah. It's just...
Even when the truck moves over.
Ooh. Just in a bad situation. You just got to get out of it a little bit sooner and just create that space between you and the vehicle in front of it. That's your space, Captain. You got to own it.
Own your space in front of you. All right. No.
But David,
No. Wait, can I ask a question? Does that stop sign apply to me because it's so far away?
Or because I'm at a customer's warehouse, do I really have to stop for it?
Am I just doing it? Was I just doing a U-turn?
Yeah, Dave, I'm going to drive on the other side of the road so the stop sign isn't so close to me. Come on, buddy, you got to stop for it.
Is that what that is? Because I think I came out the out, and if you come in the out, you don't have to stop.
Oh. Words of wisdom from Drive Safe Dave.
I'm just saying. I mean, it looks like to me that I'm not sure that applies to me.
I'm pretty sure that it applies to you. That's why they put the sign up. That's looks like a very large warehouse. And so you see a lot of yard dogs and hostlers around there. And,
wait a minute. Yeah, that sign applies. I thought maybe
after closer reflection,
after closer review, the playbook stands.
Yep.
That's a stop sign.
Yeah, that's a rolling stop on the video. Watching the right-hand mirror, the space.
All right, that's
stupid.
Somebody's in a hurry. Somebody.
And that's just stupid. I mean,
El Hurrio.
Yeah. Driver in this one does a great job recognizing what's going on. He's already got speed. It's slow traffic. Where's this guy really think?
I personally think we set up for the slalom move. I think we were actually creating the slalom maneuver space for this so that this guy could get like a 9.1 on a score, like a pretty good score on the on the slalom.
Yeah, on stupidity, it's about a 10.
Yeah, that was crazy. You know what? We see some of the craziest stuff.
Yeah. We do, and and we talk about.
Ask it. So,
ask.
I would really like it if we could just ask that person what the hell they were doing.
Yeah.
I felt the same way.
I mean, can I just find out what were you thinking? Is that one of those? Yeah. I know there's an ESPN show. Come on, man. I'm just saying.
What was so important?
No. Go back. I want to see the video. I might get there might be a medical emergency going on. Let me see if I can identify a medical emergency situation.
Okay.
Let's see the video one more time.
Shouldn't I throw my four-way flashers on?
No, wait a minute. Let me just check. No, I can't identify a medical emergency situation right here. I see impatience written all over that dude's face.
Yeah. What was so important that you had to do that you felt?
Like I said, it's the slalom maneuver.
Man.
The weave and the bob, and then out on the curb, going down the curb area.
Yeah.
By the way, I don't really think this guy believes in 5 o'clock traffic. I don't think that he sees that as a hindrance. I mean, he just sees that as like an obstacle course.
Yeah.
That's not 5 o'clock traffic. I'm going to continue to drive at a good rate of speed. I'm just going to.
It doesn't take me an hour and a half to get home.
Yeah, what are you talking about? Everybody, what do you mean? I can do it. I can do it in 30 minutes.
Yeah.
I can name that tune in 5 notes, and I can make my time across in 30 minutes. You know what? Would you think there was a medical emergency?
Dave, I don't think there was a medical emergency.
I'm just curious. It really concerns me that this guy didn't have a police escort at some point. There might be.
He keeps that kind of driving up. He'll get a police escort.
Oh, yeah. And I hope it's one real soon. Hey, I hope everybody has a great and wonderful day. Thank you for joining us here on BCB Live.
The safest station in the nation.
We'll see y'all tomorrow. Bye, everybody.